Okay, so when we're thinking about music theory and all the stuff that nerdy people like me and Lord willing you like to talk about, there is some level of knowing and understanding that we need to go through. Now, as I throw up this image on the screen, notice that it looks pretty complicated. But as long as we know where we're looking and why we're looking, also how valuable this gift is from the Lord, then you will start to really dig it, I think, as much as I do, and others as well. Now, this is a representation of what is true in nature. This does not make what is true in nature true. I really want to stress that because sometimes we will think, well, if you're playing something and it doesn't line up on the circle, then it's wrong. No. One of the coolest rules that I ever learned from one of my buddies that I was in a band with is he said, does it sound good? If it sounds good, then it's right. Now, that has a lot of assumptions hidden within that statement, but for the most part, I would agree, like, that is the case. When it becomes a problem to use the circle of fifths is when it no longer is a tool, but it is like a end-all, be-all, like, law. That's the last thing I want you to do, to treat the circle of fifths as law. Use it as a tool that helps you in your musical journey. Now, in regard to us with the piano, it will be really helpful in learning how to understand the layout of the keys, how to play them in each key, and which fingers to use and all that kind of stuff. And it is pretty magical. God blessed us really hard with this stuff, especially how it lays out in the keys. And Lord willing, you will really dig that as well. So instead of me continuing to jaw, let's look at C within the circle of fifths. Now, notice that the circle of fifths has no sharps and no flats. We talked a little bit about sharps and flats earlier. C is a scale that has all natural notes. So no sharps, no flats. Notice when we play, it's only the white keys. Right? Only white keys, not playing anything else. But as we start moving up in the circle of fifths, and you can also know it as the circle of fourths, but when you start looking at the other keys, you'll notice that sharps will start coming out of the woodwork. We start with one sharp, and if you're thinking like, okay, what does a sharp look like? Is it a blade? Is it some type of sharp wooden spike? No. The sharp is going to be like the number sign or the hashtag sign, for us. I would say modern, but it doesn't really work out. But for us, yes, the hashtag, it looks very much like that. When we are moving up through the circle of fifths, if we don't have the circle in front of us, this lesson will be very, very helpful for us to know how to do that. So just like the name suggests, if I start in the key of C from this note, and I'm trying to cycle through the circle of fifths, I will go from here, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm now, after I traveled, in the key of G. So if I stop there, I was trying to track down which key to move to. That is now my key. I'm now in the key of G. So once we get to this point and we're trying to figure out what the major scale is in the key of G, what we need to remember is our major scale formula. Let's play that for the key of G. Very cool, right? Did you notice that tonal change? When we're playing that whole step now from E to F sharp, is we are playing this new variation within the key of G. That's one way that we can know that we're in the key of G by that F sharp. Let's walk it back. Very cool. Now if we play that same thing in our left hand, it would look like this. And just so you know, that's us maneuvering from the key of C to the key of G using the circle of fifths. Now, because this is mainly about navigation, we'll get into each key in later lessons, but right now I want to make it very clear how we navigate on either, or to either sides of the circle. So if we want to continue going up through the sharps, we need to start with where we left off. So if you can imagine each key being like a different world, if we start from the key of G, this world of G, and we cycle up 5 notes, we will end up in the key of D, or on the D note, and then we can imagine we are in the world of D. Now that we're here, is all we have to do, and for the sake of this not going too far off, I'm going to bring my hand down an octave. Now we're going to input our major scale formula. Remember, that is key note, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. And now we have our D major key. And now we're playing the major scale in the key of D major. So hopefully that makes sense and is very helpful for you. Now let's start thinking about moving to the left side of the circle. We've been focusing on the right side of the circle and how to make it through. Now let's get our bearings on how we make it through the left side. So we were learning how to move to the right through the circle of fifths. Now let's go back to C, right up the middle, and let's learn how to move with our hands, if we don't have the circle, for reference, up the circle of fourths. So if we do the same thing where we are moving from, say, C to G, where we play, and then we navigate to the world of G. When we're moving up through the circle of fourths on the left side of the circle, we're actually moving up to the fourth note every time. And it would be like this. And then we start within that next world. In this case, it's going to be the key of F. Now, if you noticed, just a side note, the 2 keys that we went to are also the 3 chords that we messed around with when we were playing guitar earlier, and we were learning that in the lesson. These are our major triads, our root, our fourth, and our fifth. And one thing that you can use the circle of fifths for that's super cool is figuring out your tonal center within each key. That middle note, which is going to be your root, your fourth, which will be to the left of the circle, or left to the key within that given spot of the circle, and then the fifth, which is going to be on the right side of the circle. And you can do this for all of them. I know it's like really, really cool. If you don't care about it, I understand. It becomes really helpful later. It's so cool that a buddy of mine, his brother actually got it tattooed on his arm. I don't know where, but it is nice to know how people appreciate it. Is that idolatrous? I don't think so. It's really cool and pretty badass, actually. But anyway, let's get back to moving around the circle of fourths. So we just moved up C, D, E, F. And now, as soon as we get into this area, let's put in our major scale formula again. Keynote, whole step, half step. Now we're in the key of F. Really, really cool. Now, this God-given Easter egg that is really, really cool within the circle of fourths. Every time that we've moved through with the sharps, notice that we add a sharp as we continue. And as you continue to go through to the right, you will continue adding sharps. The ones that you previously had and a new one. So something similar happens on the circle of fourths. In this case, every time that we get up to our fourth note, that note is now going to be a flat. This is really, really cool. And as soon as I heard myself getting excited about this, I realized how much of a nerd I am about this, but it will blow your mind. It should. And if it doesn't, then like we'll talk about it. It should blow your mind. But anyway, we went from F, the key of F, and then we actually got to our next flat key if we wanted to, which is going to be B flat. And then we could just continue it from here. Remember, starting with our starting with our major scale formula. And right there, that was our next flat. And that's going to be our next flat key. It's so cool to be able to like know how to navigate the circle like this. To recap, let's just go over starting from C, right? Let's take our winged creature, as I like to teach, and we'll go up from C to the fifth, which it is G. And then in our left hand, we can go down 4. And that will set us up in the key of G. Now if we take our winged creature, we already did that work, and then we're like, hey, I want to go to the key of G. Boom. In finding our hand position. Then we can go 1. Up 5, down 4. My bad. And then we're set up to get into our scale. At least for now. It also helps you to get into your starting spot for a song. Whether the song is in G or whatever key it's in. This is a way that we can do that, figuring out our finger position by starting at the keynote and then moving up 5, down 4. That's for the sharp keys. Now, if we do it for our flat keys, it's going to be a little bit different. So this has been us moving around the circle of fifths. You can test this out on your own if you'd like to. You can, go all over the place, or you can wait up for each of the lessons when we travel from the all natural, no sharp, no flat world of C to the other worlds, if you will, of music. Now, I hope you had a lot of fun. God bless you, and Lord willing, I will see you in the next lesson.